Good evening everybody and welcome back to One Hub Racing season number 13 and round number 5, which takes us to a very wet qualifying session here at the legendary Spa-Francorchamps circuit for the Belgian Grand Prix. My name is Kieran McGinley and joining me in the commentary box is Luke Etheridge. Luke, how are you tonight?
I'm very well, thanks. Looking forward to what is definitely one of my favourite races of the season. Always produces good action at Spa.
Yeah, and it's a 7.004 kilometre circuit. It's certainly a reducer from the 14. Oh, that's Liam spinning out already and out already of the qualifying. We haven't even got the intro over with, Luke, and we've already got a retirement. Liam out in the Sauber. Well, he lost the back end going up Radion, and that is a classic case of cold tyres, too much speed.
If he's the only person to have a moment through there in this qualifying session, I will be extremely surprised. A lot of people say, oh, Rouge and Radion aren't the challenge they used to be, but as soon as you add a bit of water onto the track, it becomes a very difficult corner, even in the modern Formula 1 car.
I mean, Liam, could you at least let us get the intro done first before you cause some drama? I mean, come on now, that's not fair. But you can see a lot of drivers actually struggling in those conditions, TK being one of them. A bit of a mix of letting his teammate pass and probably losing the back end through the corner as Chris actually leaves the session. And, well, I have to say, Luke, 20 drivers in this Precision Tier race, full house.
Yeah, it's always great to see. Spa being the longest track on the calendar. We shouldn't cause too many traffic issues in qualifying, but somehow drivers always seem to find another car when they're on a fast lap. They have this magic ability of being attracted to another car. Intermediate tyres for everyone, although you've got to say it does look as though it's raining extremely heavier, so I can't see it being like China, where they managed to get out onto slicks at the end of the qualifying session.
We'll have to wait and see, and hopefully one of the weather people can come up in the chat there. But yeah, as I was saying, the 7.004 kilometre circuit, half reduced from the behemoth that it was back in the 60s, and changed over to this circuit because, you know, it was very dangerous. But in these soaking wet conditions, the performance seems to balance out a little bit. You know, drivers will be looking to see if they can extract more out of the car. They'll have to basically choose between a dry or a wet setup, depending on how the race goes. We don't know the weather of the race at the moment. It could be bone dry, so we might actually have drivers out here on dry setups hoping that the rain subsides in the race.
That would explain why we're seeing so many cars struggling. Liam's saying he's actually done with this game, and as a matter, he's another retirement from the session, so 18 drivers will be taking part in this qualifying session.
Yeah, at the moment it's all about just keeping the car on the track, and that just seems to be a little bit of an issue at the moment. Here's Westy now heading down towards Brussels. This is turn number 8 on the circuit, and the braking zone, as you brake towards it, it starts to head downhill, and it's downhill throughout the right hand corner. Very easy to lock up your front right hand tyre for the entirety of that right-hander. Very easy as well to lock up the front left. Here we go through Puon then with Westy, this double left-hander, which in the wet is an absolute nightmare, but if you can keep it on the track, you're halfway there. Now heading through to Campus, Westy now heading through this fast right left-hander through turns 12 and 13, heading his way now towards Stabilo. This right-hander here, be careful of the curb on entry and exit here. Very easy to invalidate your lap time as you now head through this long right-hander of turn number 15. Be careful of the grass to the inside, as Westy found out, and also those tyre walls on the outside. Run too wide, have a little bit too much understeer, that's your race over. Westy now heading through Blanchimont and on towards the chicane, the old bus stop chicane I like to call it. It's not called that, but anyway. Westy making his way now through turns 18 and 19, probably the slowest corners on the track apart from La Source hairpin. Asahina 156.9. Can Westy better that? Yes he can. 157.0. Actually it came up purple for me for a second there before it instantly went back to second place. That's a bit confusing, but Westy there second place in this qualifying session so far. Luke, we've had a look at the steward's office. Fair to say a lot happened.
Yeah, we seem to have... Precision seems to have got an unfair reputation, maybe, of being a few more incidents. It's when you've got this much close racing, there's always going to be quite a few drivers going to the stewards. I think it was unsurprising that TK, he got a penalty for his incident with Scorpion. last time out, but a lot of them were no further action required. A few 5-second penalties being dished out as well, and hopefully they'll be able to keep it a bit tidier, as Jaw's now retired from the session. He's lost it through Radion as well, so a lot of drivers finding that corner extremely tricky.
Luckily for Jaw though, he has set a 1:58.4, so if all doesn't go well, at least he'll be able to grab 18th place if the worst were to happen. But yeah, not ideal for him, as there is West TC. We can see him going up towards campus now. There's TK heading his way through Brussels. And we'll have a look now at some of the comments that have been made in the pre-race interview. First off, I want to start with Chris, who's out there in the Ferrari, obviously in the pit lane at the moment. Now, obviously, Odem's in the commentary box is always, or in the gantry, is always asking those difficult questions. But obviously, he's asking, what assists do you use? That's a question that's been on the topic on the agenda this week. Chris uses automatic gears, medium traction, and racing line for corners. When he was asked, do you plan on changing, Chris said, I can't see it.
I can't blame him for having traction control on in this weather. I think I'd definitely turn it on, just to make it a bit easier for yourself, especially around La Source and coming out of the bus stop. It'll be very easy in these conditions to spin the wheels. Even in the dry, it's the amount of torque that these cars produce on acceleration thanks to the hybrid system is so immense nowadays that I think a lot of real F1 drivers wouldn't mind having traction control as well to help them. And Chris has shown a lot of pace this season, did qualify on pole on China. He just can't get it right in the race, as a Nicker gets disqualified from the session, and that will disappoint the Nicker fan club.
It will indeed. Wrong way was the reason he was disqualified. So that is the end of Nicker's session. Well, at least then for Jaw, it's now going to be 17th is the worst position he can possibly get. Speaking of Nicker, then, well, it was a bit of a laugh in the pre-race interviews. Odem's asked, pinpoint who you want to beat for the remaining 4 races. He said, myself, 4 times.
He's managed to beat himself in qualifying. Like, he's going to be beating himself up over that disqualification, I'm sure, starting from the back of the grid. But it's not the biggest disaster. We mentioned this before, the 2-stop strategies. You can make it work for you. We're still unsure what the conditions are going to be, but if it's a dry race, it's going to be completely different to this, and everyone will then start on fresh tyres, so it could be interesting to watch.
Absolutely. Nick G retires as well from the session. We have Pete there up in 2nd place. Currently a little bit off the track, although I think that was just a connection there. But there's Lukey in the chat saying it's going to be dry for the race. So that is probably why we're seeing so many of these drivers struggle. They're running dry setups in these awful conditions right now.
Yeah, a lot less downforce, obviously, with a dry setup. And this Sparta track, where it's all about setup compromises anyway, the 1st and the 3rd sector pretty much flat out when you've got Eau Rouge and Blanchimont, especially in the dry. The 2nd sector, a lot more twisty corners. You need the downforce through Prouhon and coming out of like Stavalo as well. So it's a compromised track anyway for setup, a lot depending on personal preferences. All cars have identical performance, of course, but it's not surprising to see so many cars struggling, because intermediate tyres, it looks as though it's borderline needing wet tyres, judging by the rain that we're seeing. White Fountain goes fastest, well over 10 seconds off what you'd expect in perfect conditions.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
I think they'll be just surviving for the rest of this qualifying session, a lot of drivers.
Well, absolutely, and if you look at the front right of that is White Fountain's car, he's actually got damage to that front wing, so he's still running out there with a damaged car, and unless he got that near the end of his lap. I can't imagine he would have started on that one. Thompson then, 4th place at the moment, running that black and gold livery lid, which looks nice actually in these terrible conditions. Obviously yellow flags in sector 1. Now half of these might be spins, half of them might just be cars just getting out of the way of somebody behind to let them through. Halfway now through the session, White Fountain is leading the session at the moment with a 156.3. Niels is in 2nd, Pete 3rd, Thompson 4th, Asahina 5th, Jorrit 6th, Westy 7th, Victor in 8th, TK 9th, Scorpion 10th, Lukey in 11th, Chris in 12th, Metza 13th, Lawrence 14th, Joel 15th, Mitchie 16th, Liam J 17th, Scanny 18th, Azamata 19th, and Nika will be starting from the back of the grid as he was disqualified from qualifying for apparently driving the wrong way.
Yeah, unfortunate for Nika. White Fountain, provisional pole position. Second in the championship at the moment after winning last time out. 29 points behind Westy at the moment. And part of the Red Bull team that are a huge 210 points ahead of Haas at the halfway point of the season. Red Bull more than double any other team.
Yeah, absolutely, and that 200 odd point gap is before the results are taken in for the podium tier. So that's the start of play today. So that could all change once the prestige tier is all done and dusted. However, at the moment, Niels now has stolen back that provisional pole position, 156.0. And, well, it's a different strategy when you get onto these in wet conditions. Obviously, with dry tyres and dry conditions, you want to do one lap, one run on those tyres, come back and change, get onto a new set. It seems to be the other way around in intermediate conditions or wet conditions. It seems like you just got to get out there, put a load of fuel in the car, and just go out there for a couple of laps.
Yeah, firstly, none of the drivers will have practiced as much for wet conditions as they will have done for dry. Probably a bit more at Spa because it's known for being quite inclement weather, to put it nicely, in the mountain region in Spa, in Belgium. Also, you just got to get used to the track, and you never know if the weather's going to get nicer. You don't want to be trundling around with no fuel trying to get back to the pit lane as the sun's coming out. You could quite easily find yourself being caught out and heading towards the back of the grid as Chris now retires from the session.
Yeah, and as you were saying, Luke, it's a very, very long lap around this track, 7 kilometres. If you're on the wrong tyre going down towards La Source hairpin, you're going to know about it in about 30 seconds time. It's not like other tracks where you can get away with it for maybe a lap. If you're on the wrong tyre here at Spa, you are going to know about it.
Yeah, it's going to be an absolute nightmare, especially if you're on dry tyres and it's wet, or what's most likely the case here, intermediate, semi-dry. You'll have burnt them tyres out far before the end of the lap, and it will just be about surviving to get back to the pit lane. You won't be even thinking about setting any lap time, although with 5 minutes to go, I can't see getting caught on the wrong tyres being a problem. I wouldn't be surprised to see a few drivers pit, in fact quite a few have come out for what will be their last runs. Now that they've got a bit more of a feel for what the car's like, put low fuel in and see what they can do.
Well, Lukey now making his way towards Eau Rouge and then Radion. He makes his way up through Radion, just about holding onto the car then, as he makes his way now down the Kemmel Straight towards Les Colmes. A series of right, left, right, as we head now towards 5, 6 and 7. In the dry here you can carry up quite a bit of speed, but as Luke is demonstrating, in these treacherous conditions you really have to slow the car down, and obviously these guys are running dry setups as well, so there's even less grip out there. So 156 is not too bad out there, but yeah, if we are expecting a dry race, that means the top 10 as it stands can start on whichever tyre they choose, and it looks like it's going to be the soft tyres that everyone's going to start on. It's super soft, softs and mediums are the tyres that are available here, as Metza 155.7, first person into the 155s as Westy retires from the session, currently 11th place. Yeah, I can't see many drivers starting on a set of super soft tyres here.
Now, I think most of them will just start on the softs, try and go a bit longer, and then drive the final 2 stints on super soft perhaps, taking advantage of the fact that with less fuel you'll be able to hold them tyres on a bit longer. You never know whether someone might just try the super softs early on to have a lot of pace. Metza's now also retired from the session. I believe he's lost it heading down towards Les Colmes. There's yellow flags there. Yeah, someone might try the super softs, I feel, just to try and take advantage of the fresh tyres early on and get a fantastic run, because Spa is definitely a track where it is easy to overtake it, especially with the DRS heading down towards Les Colmes at the end of the first sector. Quite often you see the moves done before you've even reached the braking zone.
And it is the longest track on the calendar, only 22 laps we get around this circuit, which means that Obviously, there are less laps. I've actually had the privilege of going to the Spa circuit. It was a Sebastian Vettel that won the race. Oh, there's a Ferrari off there. That's Lukey, and he's now out of the session. Running on board there. He's just lost it. Coming out of Radion there, and must have got on the curb. And the curb in these conditions is going to make it even more treacherous. So Lukey then out of qualifying, and at the moment these drivers are dropping like flies.
Yeah, all of a sudden down to 9 drivers, I believe, at the moment, starting from 20. And Liam probably gave up hope a bit earlier, 17th at the moment. Somehow it's not turned into, obviously not the best qualifying session, but not the worst at all. I wouldn't be surprised to see a few drivers losing it through Radion in the race. It is quite tricky as you come up over the top of the hill. If you lose the rear end, as Jorrit did a fantastic drift around Blanchimont there as I was watching. He'll be hoping to get back into form this week. He did announce in the press conference that he's been using a new steering wheel and throttle settings, so he's just getting used to them. And at the moment, Westy will be starting behind him, and with Westy retirement, that will definitely be the case. And Jorrit will be hoping to get himself further up the grid.
But yeah, this is definitely a baptism of Spa for him. Well, you've got Odem's drivers to watch in the precision tier. Jorrit is one of them. He says, can Jorrit get his season back on track after his Brazil win? Oh, not like that, he won't. Coming up, Radion there, very out of shape. That will be his qualifying session over. He won't get a chance to have another lap. Second driver, can Nick G, Odem says, actually get his season started? Well, 16th place, 2:02. He would have thought with that lap time he'd be much further down that, but 16th on the grid is not too bad whatsoever. And, well, yeah, Odem's a bit of a sort of history as well. Yeah, he does a good job, I think. But yeah, those are Odem's 2 drivers to watch here in the precision tier as we head towards the end of qualifying. And can anybody beat Metz's time of 1:55.7? Niels then in second place right now, 56.0. White Fountain 55.8. As he's just set that, so he's going to go for another run actually on these intermediate tyres, and why not? You're not going to really use them ever again, as it seems. Scorpion making his way through Brussels and now towards No Name, which has since, I believe, been renamed to X Corner. Through we go to turn 9 and on towards the double left-hander of Pouon. Thompson as well, he's now heading downhill towards Eau Rouge. Checkered flag is out, so I believe it will be Niels who will head towards the line first. Jorrit has rather mucked up his lap coming over the hill, so he'll be heading his way back towards the pit lane. TK crosses the line, 9th place at the moment for him. Let's have a look at Niels then as he makes his way towards the last chicane, towards turns 18 and 19, braking at the 100-metre board and stopping that car just in time as well. So I thought he would have had to brake a little bit earlier than that, but Niels has got it covered as he makes his way now towards that start-finish line. Can he get any quicker? It's a 58.4, so not quite for Niels then. Jorrit retires from the session. We've got White Fountain there making his way towards Campers. Here's Scorpion making his way now towards the final chicane, currently in 5th place, 56.5. Will he make it to the start-finish line? Yes, he will. But can he improve now? Getting the throttle down. Jorrit's actually crashed out quite early on. Down the straight, hitting that tyre wall on the right-hand side. But Scorpion can't improve on his position, stays in 4th place. We've got White Fountain now heading through Blanchimont. And that fast left-hander, Asahina, 55.1. A huge chunk of time found there for Asahina. He went 1.5 seconds quicker than he had his previous attempt. So that's a fantastic time from Asahina. Can White Fountain have a chance of beating it as he heads towards the line? Can't beat it, half a second slower than his previous attempt. We've got Thompson and Pete, who's found his way facing the wrong way, just towards the chicane. So he's off on the grass. He won't improve on 8th place. So the last driver then is Thompson, making his way now around the final corner. Can he improve on 6th place, getting that throttle down? And can he improve? He improves by 0.04 of a second, but he can't improve on his 6th place as Pete will now be coming, I believe, towards the checkered flag. And there you go. Pole position then goes to Asahina. What a lap time.
Fantastic lap time by Asahina. Wouldn't surprise me if he's running a bit more downforce than everyone else, because that is such a margin. 0.6 of a second. Looking at his telemetry as well as he was heading across the finish line, didn't look as though he had a lot of fuel left, so he's definitely put it all out there in qualifying. White Fountain will be delighted with third place, so Westy and Jovi, his big 2 title rivals, starting down in 12th and 13th.
So Asahina then grabbing pole position, Metzer in second, White Fountain third, Nielsen fourth, Scorpion fifth, Thompson sixth, Lukey in seventh, Pete in eighth, TK ninth, Victor in 10th, Lawrence in 11th, Jorrit 12th, Westy 13th, Chris in 14th, Jor 15th, Nick G in 16th, Liam crashing out in literally a couple of seconds in 17th, Scanny 18th, Azamata 19th, and Nika will be starting from the back of the grid as he was disqualified from the qualifying session. Let us know who you're supporting tonight in the Precision tier. Maybe it's your teammates going along. Maybe you're one of the Red Bull drivers and you're just wanting to show how dominant you are this season. Let us know in that chat below, and we'll try and read your stream or read your chat out there if it's clean. That's the important thing. But yeah, Spa-Francorchamps, pretty dramatic circuit. We saw that back in 1998. I'm sure you've all seen the clip of pretty much half the field being wiped out. Of course, in those days, they had the luxury of the spare car. We don't have that nowadays. If you crash out, that's it. You're gone.
It's a good job they did have the spare car, otherwise David Coulthard would have suddenly turned it into an 8-car race for everyone. And that was also the race where Michael Schumacher had a bit of a disagreement with DC as he was heading towards the McLaren garage to voice his opinion after the German smashed into the back of the McLaren thanks to the spray.
Yeah, absolutely. And, well, it took David Coulthard quite a while to say that he actually did slow down on the racing line. Interpret that as you may. We've got, wow, what a name. Timmy the Turtle saying, go Nika, last to points. Yeah, Nika will be one to watch out for. Can he actually make it to the points? The only problem is he's got 20th place, that is, as Asahina gets the field underway. Let's have a look on board then, the circuit. We didn't get a full look at it in that qualifying session. La Source hairpin, a very tight first corner, especially on the first lap. Watch out for cars trying to go 3 wide through there on the very first lap. Then it runs down the hill, slightly gets narrower as you head down towards Eau Rouge, and then it is up Radium. Watch out for cold tyres in this part of the track, because that will affect you. You will have less grip there as lots of cars being disqualified. That of course means that they won't get a chance to properly warm their tyres up. Down the Kemmel Straight, the first DRS zone on the lap of course won't be activated until lap 3. Down towards Les Combes, you can be on the inside, but it then puts you on the outside for turn 7. Turn 6, and then on the inside for turn 7. So you can have a good opportunity there if you play your cards right. Down towards turn 8, a good opportunity to just have a look up the inside. But if you lock up, you're going straight on. That's the only problem with that one. As we head towards turn 9, that's Metzer who wants to get this formation lap over and done with. So does White Fountain. As we head now in towards No Name, aptly known as X Corner. As we now, Asahina actually left the session, so that was lucky that he left when he did. As we now head with him through Pouhon. Watch that curb on the inside there, and the curb on the inside of turn 11 on the second part of Pouhon. You don't want to catch that curb. If you do, you will spin the car around. Into Campus now. It's turn 12 section here. That bit of curb is slightly, there's a slight divot in that curb. On the inside of turn 12, you can use it. You're not going to be judged. It will actually pull you into the corner as we head now through Campus and then through this long right-hander of turn 15. Again, there's a divot there in the curb, but you rather want to avoid that one because it does drag you into the grass. That's not in a place where you actually want to be, as we now will fly down one of the fastest parts of the circuit, as we'll then head through the slight left-hander of 16 and Blanchemont coming up turn 17, which is flat out in these cars, that's for sure. Even if you run warm tyres, there's a good chance you could take this flat out, and then it will be up towards the chicane. Brake late here, try and get on the inside. It'll give you the outside for the remaining last corner and try and give you the grip you need. As Metzer makes his way towards the final or the second grid spot on the track. Luke, take it away with our sponsor.
Yeah, One Hub Streams, all sponsored by Next Level Racing. Check out their range of stands and rigs that they have available and use the code 1HUB10. So that's 1HUB in words, then the number 10 to get a 10% discount. Interesting to see. We thought a lot of drivers would go for the soft tyres, the front two on the super softs, and quite a lot of the field. So quite a lot of different strategies going to be going on here today.
Well, here we go then, moments away in Spa for the Belgian Grand Prix, and we're just waiting now for those 5 red lights, and here we go then for the Belgian Grand Prix. It is 5 red lights. Round 5 is underway, and what do the starts like? Looks like Asahina's got a good start. He'll want to try and cover off the inside as we head towards the source. Look at the Red Bulls there. They're going to try and make it 4 wide in towards the source. That was Thompson up the inside, that looked like, as White Fountain makes some moves. Got a Force India off in the background as well as we make our way down towards Eau Rouge, and then up Radion. Who's going to be the one that catches out? There's going to be someone that catches out. It's yellow flags in Sector 1 then. That looks like Pete is in trouble. He's now retired from the session. Making our way now down towards the Kemmel Strait. Something's definitely happened behind because half the field's been separated now. Making our way down towards Lake Com. Look at this. 2 wide in 2 positions. Metzer has dropped to 3rd place. Thompson, meanwhile, is sort of forced with Niels in towards, that was Victor there. As we've got a car off there as well. That's Lawrence in the background. In fact, no, it was Metzer. Metzer in the Renault off onto the grass. No idea how that happened. Drama as it unfolds then. Niels up the inside of Scorpion in towards No Name as we head now down towards Puan. He loses out on that position through the double left-hander here. You don't want to be too wide through here. Not a chance. As you see there, cars with less tyre grip, temperature in the tyres I should say, will have less grip through Puan for the very first time, as that's a Ferrari's gone straight on. That's Lukey maybe missing his braking point there. A bit of a chaotic first lap as we make our way now with Campers through with Jorit. Asahina though still leads. We've got Metzer who's now retired from the session. Jora's lost out big time as well. He's down to 17th place. Actually got damage to his front wing as well. So on that first lap we've lost Pete, Scanny and now Metzer on that first lap. Chris and Lukey meanwhile, teammates battling away here. Jorit meanwhile is looking up the outside of Lawrence as we head now towards that final chicane. Nielsen, Victor battling away up ahead as we head through the final corner. They're side by side, Nielsen, Victor, as they head now down towards La Source hairpin for the second time. The Force India up the inside, the Haas around the outside. Nielsen has the inside line, but Victor tries to take the outside line. He might get a little bit of better traction as we head down the hill towards Eau Rouge. And can Niels try and find anything? They're going to be side by side. It's flashbacks of Webber and Alonso here, and look at that, Victor can't quite keep the well, he actually gets the move done off track, but I think Niels was off track as well. So I don't know how the stewards are going to feel about that one. Meanwhile then, Victor has to be on the defensive as we head towards the entrance of Lake Com. And that's Renault running wide there. That is Lawrence. And Victor looks like he's lost out big time to Niels there as we start to try and calm down after a chaotic first lap.
Yeah, everything seemed to happen there. I think the 2 Red Bulls got together a bit. Scorpion and White Fountain both lucky to avoid damage on that first corner. And the field always bunches up at La Source. You get that concertina effect with the heavy braking into the hairpin. And I wonder if quite a few cars missing the formation lap had an effect. Big shame for Metzer after such a good qualifying. On the first lap, White Fountain did seem to be a lot faster through the 2nd and 3rd sectors than Asahina, and had a go round the outside into the box stop. So even though he's on the harder tyres, he'll be going for it once again. He knows he's got a great chance of winning this race from the position he's in.
He's got Asahina in the way though, that's the only thing. Asahina on super softs, White Fountain on those soft tyres, so he's got a chance to make them go a little bit longer. Meanwhile, Ferrari's battling now through Blanchimont. Lukey with Chris behind him as they head towards the chicane. But Chris here not willing to try that battle. Asahina 1:47.2. That fastest lap of the race so far. Jorit meanwhile is looking to try and put that pressure on Victor ahead. The gap looked a little bit closer than it was. Here comes Chris then. Does he have a look down the inside? No, he doesn't. Meanwhile then, Liam is having to face off TK as they head in towards La Source hairpin for the 3rd time now. DRS will be enabled, and the first time they'll be able to use it is along the Kemmel Strait. So have a look for those positions and moves as TK and Liam try and go side by side in towards Eau Rouge and Radion, and somehow TK comes out unscathed and actually moves up a position. That took some serious unbroadcastables there, but he's got the move done. And meanwhile, other than that, Victor gets onto the gravel there and loses out to Victor as he loses that position. Chris, meanwhile, has made the move on Lukey. Now focuses his attention straight away on Lawrence through Brussels as we head now towards No Name. He's going to be on the outside here. And with Lawrence mounting the curb, then it slowed him down. And Chris is able to go through into 8th place.
Yeah, very fair racing there. Saw a lot of slipstreaming Chris and Lukey side by side through Lacombe. Westy's also got past Lukey as well now. Expect to see those on the soft tyres. Tyres will have warmed up a bit more. They're going to have a bit more pace over the next few laps. Spread out a bit more at the front of the field. Asahina half a second ahead of White Fountains, half a second ahead of Thompson, and then Scorpion and Victor sort of not really looking ahead of them, especially Victor. He's got Niels all over the back of him at the moment. Plenty of action. It all seems to have calmed down though after that chaotic first lap. Joe, the only driver to have pitted so far, so he'll only have one pit stop remaining as Thompson now sets the fastest lap of the race. Lukey and Westy are battling out of the bus stop.
Yeah, absolutely. A little bit of contact between Lukey and Westy in towards the entrance of the chicane there, and that's Azamata running into the back of Nick G, and he's lost a huge chunk of front wing on that left-hand side. He missed his braking point completely. Meanwhile, White Fountain here is looking to try and get past Asahina for the lead. Thompson, meanwhile, looking to try and make it 3 wide down towards Lacombe. Asahina goes through the middle and somehow keeps the position. He had the outside and the inside compromised, and somehow he just slips through and still holds on to the lead.
Superb driving from everyone there just to avoid any contact. Asahina somehow holding on. Nick Thompson trying the best to try and take advantage of White Mountain, focusing on attacking but not able to do so. But his teammate Azamata, probably worst part of the lap to lose any front wing, and especially around here he's got such a long drive to get back to the pits now. That'll have ruined his race. He's coming through a poor one. You can see he's just holding Lukey up behind him, who's dropped a few places actually. The Ferrari down to 13th now, and he's just being held up by the Toro Rosso ahead of him.
Now remember, of course, in this season of One Hub Racing, 2 stops mandatory. So we're looking at supers to softs, or softs to supers, and then supers again. So really we're expecting the drivers to avoid the medium tyres altogether.
Yeah, it's not the heaviest tyre wear track. It's only really the middle sector where you've got those fast corners, but quite a lot of slow corners, and engine performance seems to be one of the big differentiators here as Lukey and TK get past Azamata. And I imagine White Fountain will be trying to same move this time around. It's just whether Asahina allows the Red Bull to have the inside line going into Lacombe or not. And White Fountain can't commit too much with LJ just behind him.
Here we go again then. What will happen this time? White Fountain and Thompson will have the DRS. Here comes Thompson around the outside. He will be for the entrance of Lacombe, but he'll be right behind Asahina. But he gets the move around the outside in towards the inside of the second part of Lacombe, and he gets the move done. Crucial move for Thompson then. His next target will be Asahina.
And all this defending that the front three are allowed to do, all of a sudden Scorpion's right involved as well. So we now have a 4-way battle for the lead of this race. Scorpion, I don't think he'll be wanting to get too involved with his teammate. He's not really in this championship hunt, and obviously with Red Bull's commanding lead in the constructors, they don't want to take too many risks. But if LJ Thompson can just hold off White Fountain enough, that might give Asahina the chance he needs to get away and perhaps get his first victory of the season. But we've still got 17 and a bit laps to go here, a long way to go. White Fountain will be wanting to stay out longer than those ahead, of course, being on the hard tyres.
Yeah, and he'll want to go on to 2 sets of supers towards the end of his race. Just looking at some of the position changes as Thompson looks to try and reel in Asahina as we head towards the chicane. Will he have a look up the inside? He thinks about it, but then just decides to take the racing line. He actually tries to mount the inside curb at turn 18, try and reel in Asahina as much as he can as we now head towards the source hairpin. He's right in the slipstream here, but will he try and stay behind? No, he's going to go for it round the outside. Now he'll get a better traction out of turn 1 as downhill as well. That'll help with the traction as well, but he just can't quite get that move done in the slipstream of Asahina through the first part of Eau Rouge, then up Radion. Still in that slipstream, the dirty air will be taking its toll, but look at this now in the slipstream, in towards the DRS zone. He'll be around the outside at Lacombe, but I don't think he'll need it. with the slipstream. But look at White Fountain now, trying to go up the inside. Asahina tries to defend the line. Thompson has the inside of the second part of Lecom, the outside for the third part. Asahina trying to hold on for dear life. Has he hold on to this lead of this race as we head down towards turn 8? Again, Thompson now trying the outside line at Brussels. He'll have the inside line for the next corner at No Name, and he'll go for it again and has to back out of it. Asahina somehow still leads this race.
It's a miracle that this is happening. I'm not sure how he's still ahead, how White Fountain didn't get past. Asahina last of the late breakers going into Lecombe there. It's now a 5-way battle for the lead. All of a sudden, this is getting more and more intense, and Chris and Niels aren't too far off joining this as well. We've had the first few scheduled pit stops. Lukey has come in. He's now on the super soft tyres, and Liam has also pitted in the Sauber. But so much action going on at the front, pretty much a DRS train expected next time around. But you almost don't want to catch up the cars too early. If you get such a good exit out of La Source heading down towards Eau Rouge, you don't want to catch them up directly at the top of Eau Rouge, because then you're going to have to back off the throttle and you'll just be a sitting duck with this many cars behind you as the top 2 pit.
So top 2 pit, and you got Victor and Chris behind them as well. They all pit coming in as Jorrit then battles with the Haas down the straight. That is Westy down towards La Source hairpin. Jorrit's got the inside line. Westy has the outside line. Westy has to just back out of that one for now. And looking at those position changes, well, Nicker up to 9th place, but of course he's still yet to make his first stop. Jorrit and Westy up 8 places, of course, with that first stop out of the way for some. But it was a good start, I have to say, from Asahina, managing to hold on to the lead. But Thompson was up 5 places at one point.
Yeah, it's been a fantastic start from Thompson. He's now on the soft tyres.
So
he's done.
That's Jorrit around. Jorrit around on the infield at Lecombe. And it just looked like you took too much speed in towards turn 6 there and spun the car around. I'm not sure if there was contact, didn't quite see. All I know is that the Mercedes found himself facing the wrong way on that infield, and of course it's all grass there, so that's going to take a couple of laps to get that debris fully off the tyre, and that'll be really frustrating for him.
Yeah, he was in a good battle there with Westy, worked his way up the field into 4th and 5th, had the 2 race winners, 2 of the 3 race winners from this season. White Fountain winning last time out in China. White Fountain just starting to pull away from Scorpion. He's out of the DRS zone. Those super soft tyres on Scorpion and Niels will be past their best now. It's just how far can the lead Red Bull keep these soft tyres going to ensure he's on the super softs at the end. Because you feel that is going to be his only real chance of getting past Asahina in this race, unless the Sauber has a mistake.
Well, it's interesting, Thompson's actually rejoined ahead of Asahina, so that was something he wanted as well, as he moves ahead. Meanwhile, this is Scorpion heading into the pit lane for his first scheduled stop. What tyres go on? Looks like it's going to be soft tyres, so he's still got 1 set of tyres left to run at the end of the race, and they should be the super softs. That's what the strategy sort of it tells us and warns us. Lukey then is now going to try and battle Asahina as we head now down towards La Source hairpin. Now Lukey has gone back out on another set of super softs, so he has to run those soft tyres at the end of the race. So he'll be able to have those towards the end. Meanwhile, Chris has got away past Thompson then. So Chris, who'd stopped early on and was at the back of that lead pack at the moment, he's managed to find his way past. Victor then gets away past Jorrit in towards the entrance of Lecombe through turns 5, 6 and then through 7. The Haas of Victor moves up a position as Jorrit kicks up a bit of gravel on the exit there.
Yeah, somehow out of all this, Victor is the lead car out of those who are pitted. LJ Thompson in 2nd, Chris in 3rd out of those that are pitted. Asahina in 7th. He must have had some sort of penalty or a change on the front wing that we haven't seen on the stream here, because he was looking really good at the start of this race.
It may be
yellow flag in sector 1, and that's Liam who's around. He's lost his front wing at the top of Radion, so the nightmare continues for him after qualifying. But as I don't know if Asahina's made a mistake, because he seems to be struggling on these soft tyres as well compared to those around him.
Well, remember the Sauber's one of the last pit garages in the pit lane. Meanwhile, here's Thompson up the inside of Jorrit then as we head through Blanchimont, and wisely Jorrit chooses to back out of that one. He's not pitted yet on those soft tyres, so he just probably decides he doesn't want anything to do with that. That's probably going to cost him more time than it'll gain. Niels, meanwhile, has to deal with Lukey going around the inside in towards the final corner. Started that going around the outside of turn 18 as Liam has now retired from the race. Here comes Niels down the inside as we head towards La Source hairpin for the 9th time, and Niels then gets the move done. Meanwhile, behind Lukey, Asahina, we were wanting revenge. Maybe he just simply got held up in the pits, Asahina. That might be the only reason. Lukey, meanwhile, then in the slipstream of Niels. He has to be careful of that dirty air then. You can see that they got quite light through Radion, but now it'll be quite heavy with that DRS. Niels moves to defend. Lukey does the switchback to the left-hand side with the DRS. Heading now towards turn 5. He'll be around the outside, but he gets the move done. Last of the late breakers, and he gets that position 12 from Niels, and that was crucial because Lukey's on the super soft tyres. He has to make that move done. Asahina, meanwhile, down the inside of Brussels. He knows that's the move he needs to make, and almost Niels there collecting his front wing on the back of Asahina, but Asahina shows his bravery, shows his guts, and up to 13th place he goes.
Yeah, Asahina is just about keeping patient now. Whatever happened in the pit stop, he's just got to put it to the back of his mind. Keep these soft tyres in good condition. Ensure you can go for it at the end of the race on those super soft tyres. You've definitely still got a chance in this race. Victor, 15 seconds behind the leader at the moment. He's on those super soft tyres, so expect them to start wearing pretty soon as White Fountain, the race leader, he's now in the pits. So it'll be interesting to see where he comes out in relation to all those that have already stopped.
Well, we're watching here Asahina trying to pull away from Niels as best he can as we head towards the final chicane. But at the moment, Asahina has just got Niels right behind him. His mirrors are full of pink. Andy says, not quite sure the two-stopper for Victor will work. It needs to be clear of the cars ahead much quicker. Well, here's the thing, Andy. Everyone has to stop twice. So that's the real stickler there. So at the moment, then, it looks good for him at the moment. Looks good for Victor. He's the leading car that's already made a stop in this race.
Yeah, the only issue might be if he has to do that final stint on the soft tyres and the others are on the super softs. That could cause a bit of problems for him, especially with Thompson only about a second behind at the moment. Chris, he'll be in a similar situation as well on his super soft tyres, so another 2 to 3 laps. Expect both of those to come in. White Fountain just coming out ahead of his teammate. Jorrit sort of in the middle of this battle. He's yet to stop. They'll be hoping, those behind, Lukey, Asahina and Niels, they'll be hoping he pits this lap. Otherwise that could hold them up quite a lot next time around.
Well, the two Red Bulls here have just got to be careful. Their teammates will be watching them. They've had a dominating season so far, and if they're the teammates, they'd probably say, don't do anything stupid, lads.
Yeah, if White Fountain and Scorpion are in communication, if I was White Fountain, I'd be saying, remember that I'm leading this championship at the moment, I've got fresher tyres, let's not risk anything. The Scorpion just gets a couple of wheels over the white line there, and you don't want to do that too often. You can easily find yourself in the tyre war. Westy going as long as possible. Lawrence, as well as I say that. Nick G deciding to carry on. These guys can make the final 2 stints on the super soft tyres. They could be in good shape for the rest of this race.
Of course, it's making those super soft tyres last, as we know around this circuit. The softs and the mediums, pretty good tyre wear. The super softs, though, if you're not careful, they're going to go off very quickly. Here is Niels trying to go down the inside of Asahina at La Source. Meanwhile, we've got Thompson here trying to chase down Victor. Now, this pretty much is for the lead of the race. They've got Nick G ahead of them, who's yet to make his first stop. Thompson here has to try and make this opportunity work, because he's not going to get an easier chance, or a better chance I should say, because Victor's on a set of super softs, Thompson on the set of soft tyres. Meanwhile, the switch has been made at the Red Bull. Scorpion ahead now of White Fountain, and now making their way down towards Brussels here, as a little bit of weaving there from Scorpion. Not sure what that was about, but Nick G is currently leading, as I said, yet to stop. Victor in second, and maybe he feels he's getting a little bit held up by Nick G at the moment, because, as I said, Thompson behind him on those soft tyres, 1 step harder tyres, and and Thompson's able to keep up.
Yeah, we're probably getting around the crossover point with a tyre life where it becomes better to be on them soft tyres. Nick is struggling so much, nearly losing it there. And that's really held Victor up. This could be interesting through Blanchimont and heading towards the bus stop. Victor, I can't imagine he's going to be able to do it through Blanchimont, but has to be careful for the Toro Rosso behind him. And all this, of course, is just allowing Chris and the two Red Bulls to catch up as well.
All aboard this one as Victor now heads towards the old bus stop chicane, going round the outside, up the inside, and Nick G just pulls off to the pit lane. I don't think Thompson will be too impressed with that one, but what other line could Nick G take into the pit lane other than the widest possible line? But now Victor then leads this race. He's made his first stop of the race, of course. Thompson then in second. Chris is having a great race so far. Third place at the moment, of course. Really eager to brush off that disqualification he had at Brazil. And so far, he's doing a fine job. Third place at the moment. Riding on board now with Thompson in the DRS zone. We go. DRS wide open. Victor tries his best to defend. There's not a lot you can do to defend against DRS like that. And Thompson then heading down towards the entrance of Les Combes takes the lead at the Belgian Grand Prix.
Yeah, he's just got to try and get away now from Victor, break that DRS. Having Chris behind Victor might help him do that.
Lawrence and sorry, the cut across you there, Lawrence, and that was Niels making contact there, and as Sahina got collected in the aftermath, he finds himself into the wall. He's not out of the race, but he's parked it in the middle of Les Combes onto just the tyre wall. I don't know if some problem with his wheel there, but I don't think many kind words are being said behind that particular lid. But yeah, a huge amount of damage to that front wing there. It's barely a front wing. It's basically a T-tray now on the front of that car as he's sort of weaving his way down now. Yeah, something tells me he's not too impressed with that one.
No, I think he's just in a certain party getting caught up in that incident there. He was looking so good at the start of the race, and it's all going wrong for him. Joe gets past him now. Joe and Lukey have both made their 2 pit stops. While all that was going on, Azamata retired at the top of Radion. He hit the wall as well. Interesting to see that Nick G has gone on the medium tyres. That seems like a very conventional one-stop strategy from Nick, although he does definitely have to make another stop, and we're yet to see anyone do that in precision this year.
Lawrence making the move on Niels in towards the old bus stop chicane, and he moves now up to 6th place. Meanwhile then, White Fountain and Scorpion still battling away as you say, Victor and Chris come into the pits and put on a set of soft tyres. That will take them to the end of the race. That's their 2 stops done. They just have to focus on that now, as Scorpion now in towards the DRS zone is going to have a hard time defending from his teammate White Fountain. These two are going to swap positions all day long, as they're currently running 2nd and 3rd. Of course, they're still yet to make their 2nd stop. Niels, meanwhile, heading now towards the entrance of Les Combes, in towards turn 5 with that DRS, able to keep up now with Lawrence, but he's going to find it a little bit more difficult, I think. Niels on soft tyres and Lawrence on slightly fresher super soft tyres. So Lawrence will now just try and keep his head down and try and just drive the wheels off that car for the moment. Let's have a look at the stops. Victor and Chris leading the 2 stops at the moment. Lukey made 2 stops as well as Jaw. So only 4 people have made 2 stops so far. So at the moment, they've just got to focus now and get to the end of the race.
Yeah, Asahina retiring from the session. So we're down to 14 runners. Quite an attritional race so far here in Belgium. Be interested to see how, if White Fountain can use them slightly fresher soft tyres to close up the gap now to Thompson. It's at 2.7 seconds. He is more than a second ahead of Scorpion, so he doesn't have to worry about that. Westy and Lawrence looking pretty good as well with those fresher super soft tyres. They should be able to close up to the 2 Red Bulls ahead of them. Keeping it nice and clean on penalties could be a decisive factor here today.
Westy fastest lap, 1:45.7. Here comes Chris then towards the old bus stop chicane. Thinks about a late move up the inside. Almost collecting the back of Victor's rear tyre there, but backs out of it. It was a very, very late decision. And in the end then, I'm sort of glad he backed out of it, because otherwise he would have collected Victor there, and that wouldn't have gone too well in the Haas garage. But Chris now trying to take a different line through turn 1. to Victor and see if he can try and get a better exit on the run now down towards Eau Rouge. You can hear Chris just backing out of the throttle, making sure he doesn't draw side by side through Radion, because that's the last thing you want to do. Chris then in the slipstream of Victor, moving to the left-hand side. He'll be on the outside for the very entrance of Les Combes. But look at this, Victor's still going to try and put up a battle until he realises it's too late, he can't do it. And Chris then, in towards turn 5, moves up to 9th.
Yeah, he'll be thinking about the win in this race now, Chris. After doing his 2 stops, he'll want to get ahead of Victor. He knows he's got the pace to do it. Could be all be about how quickly can he get ahead of this traffic in front of him. He's got Nicker 1.5 seconds up the road. Then there's a pretty big gap to TK in 7th place, so clearing the Williams could be all important. Nick Thompson doing a good job out in front. He's keeping that gap pretty much constant at the moment, so he'll be keeping nice and cool. Still 8 laps to go. Of course, with this many incidents happening, a virtual safety car or a safety car could be a blessing for some drivers and a curse for others if we do have one of those.
Oh, Nicker's off at turn 15 and lost his entire front wing. Now, I think he went on his own there. There was no one else around him, but now he's joined pretty much onto the racing line. But here's the awkward part, going through Blanchimont. He's going to be right on the racing line, and whoa, Nick G goes around the outside with minimal track to his right-hand side. Really put a lot of faith in Nicker then. I said his entire front wing is gone. That was a complete lie, but the entire left-hand side of his front wing is gone. Let me have that one. Nicker then goes into the pits, and, well, starting from the back of the grid, it was always going to be a tough race. It's now got even tougher for him.
Yeah, Lukey and Chris and Victor, those guys, they'll definitely be happy. I said Chris and Victor will be having to get past Nicker. That's made it easy for them. Victor's now in the DRS. Chris not feeling the need to go defensive just yet. Now he moves across. Victor's going to have to do this on the brakes into Les Combes. Chris just brakes a bit later. Holds off the undercut as well, and that's a good job by Chris. But all this battling is just wearing their tyres out and meaning they're not catching up as Victor tries round the outside. A bit of contact there, but no damage done. And this is just slowing both of them down. I know they're thinking about the position on track at the moment, but if Nick, White Fountain and Scorpion could see this, this would be, I'd say music to their ears, but they'd be watching, not listening. So a beautiful sight for them to see these two battling as hard as they are.
Absolutely, and look at that, Chris leaving the room into turn 12, and that's going to cost him even more time. Let's look at the gap ahead of them to TK. 7.6 is the gap now, and whilst they're battling, that's gone up by at least a second. It was around 6 when Chris was catching, and now it's going to be even bigger. TK now is looking at the back of Niels then as we head towards the old bus stop chicane. Niels actually going quite slowly into the old chicane. That'll be why, because he's peeling off into the pits.
Yeah, getting to the stage now. I expect to see a few of these guys that are pitting coming out on the super soft tyres. They'll be the ones to watch towards the end of the race for any exciting battling. Nick Thompson still 2.4 seconds ahead of White Fountain. He's about a second ahead of his teammate Westy. He's doing a good job holding on to these on the super soft tyres. He could be one to watch. Again, not really mentioned the championship leader too much in this race, but he's just done the job quietly. I think he's gained 8 positions so far. 9 positions, so fantastic from Westy, coming up from 13th on the grid. He kept it clean in the early stages when there was all that carnage on lap 1. Could we see another win for the Drivers' Championship leader and just cement his place at the top? Because that'd go a long way with only 3 races to go at the end of the day to securing that championship.
Well, absolutely. Both horses then involved in battles. Victor trying to chase down Chris once again, as we're seeing that battle there. But also Wesley trying to chase down Scorpion. Now, of course, Thompson, White Fountain, Scorpion, Wesley, Lawrence, they've all got to stop again. So that battle for the lead could be really interesting towards the end of this race. As you say, Chris and Victor leading the 2-stoppers right now, but they're battling each other. And now the gap between TK and Chris is 7.7. That's how much time they're losing at the moment.
They've definitely lost time to the leaders, and they want us to be gaining some, of course. They're on the fresher tyres. Everything says they should be gaining time. we finally see the leader come into the pits. White Fountain and Scorpion able to go on a bit longer. So this is what we want to see, where these guys come out. And these two will come out on the faster tyres. So if they're behind Chris and Victor, they're definitely going to have a chance of getting past.
Niels around the outside of Blanchimont, gets past Jorick. What a move that was from Niels there. Such bravery, such trust he put in Jorick there, especially on 5-lap old super softs. And that was a glorious move from Niels there.
Yeah, Max Verstappen tried that pretty much, I think, when he announced himself into Formula 1 as the crazy overtaker that we all know and love nowadays. Got to have a lot of trust in the driver here. I think he knows Jovic's sensible. The Mercedes, they're coming into the pits. I think once you've been passed around the outside going into Blanchimont, that pretty much says your tyres have had enough. And in the end, Nick has got out ahead of Chris and Victor. That couple of seconds they've lost battling each other has probably cost them today, but still 5 laps remaining. Now it's just all about where White Fountain and Scorpion come out in relation to these 4 cars battling for the net race lead.
Someone at Mercedes tell Nick G that he's got one more stop to do. He looks like he's going to try and go to the end of these mediums. Meanwhile then, Lawrence up the inside at Pouon. No, backs out of it, thinks better of it, and actually runs a little bit wide on the exit of Pouon. Meanwhile then, you've got Victor. Chris has had a bad exit out of 13 and in towards 14 and 15. Looks like Victor wanted to try and have a little bit of run, but Chris just parked it on the apex there. Didn't allow that to happen. Meanwhile, Lawrence has got down the inside of Nick G. Nick G made a mistake. Runs a little bit wide at turn 15. That's not what you want to do. Almost collecting that tyre wall there. Here's Westy then on Victor. Down towards the old bus stop chicane. Westy up the inside. And I don't think Victor was going to battle him too hard there. So Westy now up to 6th place and keen to get his championship points extended here. As he looks now down towards turn 1. Lap 18 then. Scorpion does lead, but he's still yet to make his second stop. There comes White Fountain out of the pits, and he rejoins behind Westy, but in front of Victor. So the Haas's have been split. And just like that, that was an important move for Westy then. He knew he had to make that move done, and it's actually got him ahead of White Fountain. So a great call from the Haas team, a great call from those teammates. As you can see here, Westy now closing in on Chris, changing up to 8th gear as late as possible now. Around the outside on the entrance of Les Combes, will give him the inside. Chris there cuts off the door. He slams it shut and makes sure Westy can't get through. And now this is just going to cost Westy a little bit of time. Meanwhile, White Fountain here trying to now have a move down the inside in towards Brussels. No move there as Victor wanted to go down even more the inside, which I don't think was even possible. The first move down the inside wasn't possible. I'm not sure where Victor was planning to put that car as we now head with these 4 cars through Pouon.
Yeah, we've used to seeing Lukey be in the Ferrari with quite a train behind him. It's Chris this time doing a fantastic defensive job. Westy there looks to the outside. He's not really going to get the move done there. And all this, Nick is now nearly 4 seconds ahead of these. And we'll soon see Scorpion joining onto the back of this battle as well. It looks like it's going to be a very interesting battle for 2nd place, and Westy can't commit too much. Is he going to have a go round the outside into Blanchimont? Niels has done it. He's going to have to go all the way around the outside. This touch slightly, gets a penalty, but he's got the move done.
And here comes that Red Bull up the inside. That's White Fountain. There's a Constantina effect between the 3 of them. And look at this now. They're still scrapping for 3rd place. As you say, Westy gets that penalty. 3 seconds added to the end of his race. White Fountain now up the inside at La Source and gets past Chris. Crucial move there. Scorpion comes in. Where will he rejoin? He'll rejoin behind Lukey then. And looks like in front of Lawrence. Heading now down through Eau Rouge and now up Radion. White Fountain here now on Westy. Looking in the slipstream, looking with that DRS. Westy won't have it. He looks to the inside to try and defend as best he can. White Fountain uses all the slipstream he can on towards the entrance of Les Combes. And look at that, Westy pulls into that slipstream of the Red Bull. Knows it's a futile battle at the moment. So White Fountain up to 2nd place. Westy looking to try and go round the outside, ran wide and then awarded a 3-second time penalty by the in-game stewards. And that's going to put a little bit of a damper on his race right now, because that could cost him not even the podium, but even a chance in the top 6.
Yeah, and Scorpion not too far behind either, so he'll be pushing as hard as possible. Lawrence getting a 3-second time penalty. pretty wise by Westy to just hold off for a bit. He knows as long as he can stay close enough, he'll have DRS down the pit straight, and he'll have DRS down towards Lecombe, of course, and coming up along the Kemmel straight. Just going to check quickly to see if Nick Thompson has a penalty. He only has one warning so far, so it's looking very good for the Toro Rosso with 3 laps remaining, 4 seconds ahead. It's going to be a big ask for White Fountain to close that gap.
Absolutely, and I'm not sure if we can have a just a check on those penalties to see how much is going to change in these last couple of laps, which battles are going to be really under threat. Scorpion here, looking now at the back of Lukey. He's on a fresh set of super soft tyres. By the way, just if you're wondering, Nick G did come in for his second stop. He's now down in 13th place, battling with Jaw for 12th.
Yeah, Scorpion doesn't have a penalty. The 4 cars ahead of him all do. So if he can get a move on here, he's got a great chance of getting onto the podium. Neither Nick or White Fountain do, so the gap we are seeing between them is the gap at the end of the race as it stands. Westy not able to get past there, but he is pulling away from Chris and Victor. So if we do some quick maths at the moment, if the race finished with these gaps at the moment, Nick would be in the lead, White Fountain would be second, Westy third, and Scorpion would take 4th position. So looking good for the Red Bull drivers once again.
Absolutely, and Scorpion looking to put the pressure on Lukey once again, going through Puon, a double left-hander as we head our way now towards campus. And for the Red Bulls here, this might be a slight chink in their armour at the moment, because they've got White Fountain in second but Scorpion in 7th. That's on track, of course. Of course, we're not taking into account of those penalties. Those will be accounted for at the checkered flag as we now make our way through turn 15. You've got to be careful of that dirty air, but look at this run now Scorpion has on Lukey as we're heading now towards 16 and then through 17 at Blanchimont. Scorpion gets a little bit onto the grass. Will that affect his entry into Blanchimont? He's running right on the gearbox of Lukey, then looking for a move down towards the old bus stop chicane. Doesn't actually go for it in the end. Lukey runs a little bit deep in towards 18. Might give him a better exit actually out of 19. Good defensive driving from Lukey there. He knew he had to keep that Red Bull behind him as long as he possibly can. Maybe now he's going to try and help Chris here, because obviously Chris has those penalties. He might actually go behind Scorpion at the end of this race. So maybe there's a little bit of communication here. Lukey, see if you can keep Scorpion behind you as long as you can.
Yeah, Scorpion has the fresher tyres, of course, so he'll have a lot more pace. I think it's pretty interesting that Scorpion didn't really seem to go for the cutback coming out of the bus stop. He definitely would have had the grip to do so. He's got a lot more grip coming out of Radion. He's got the move done before Lecombe even, so he's now up to 6th place, and Lukey now looking pretty vulnerable to Lawrence behind, who's got up to the back of this battle, and Westy still trying to get past White Fountain as well.
Yeah, you got Lawrence trying to get past Lukey. As, yeah, you say that battle between Westy and White Fountain. I tell you what, this race has flown by because we're on the penultimate lap of the Belgian Grand Prix already. Someone put 10 more laps on the counter. Let's keep this going. Westy, though, 3rd place at the moment. Remember, he's got penalties, so at the moment, it's not looking good for him. He might drop down the order just very slightly. Victor, meanwhile, 5th place, trying to hold off Scorpion as he now heads through. This is now a battle for 5th place, as Scorpion looks to try and get past the Haas ahead of him. And with the penalties added up, we're not sure what that's going to do to affect the standings. Niels, meanwhile, is on the back of Lawrence once again as we head now through 16 and then through 17 at Blanchimont. At the moment, not looking... slipstream not really helping him at the moment. It's closing a little bit. The problem is, though, Lawrence has the slipstream of Lukey ahead of him. Final lap of the race then, started by Thompson, who leads on the final lap now here at Spa. So White Fountain in 2nd, Westy in 3rd. Now, can Thompson hold on to the lead of that race? White Fountain is closing in, not at a significant rate, but it was over 4 seconds. It's now 3.5 seconds. So, I mean, White Fountain here is just doing the best he can. He's pushing as hard as he can to try and neutralise his penalty.
Yeah, and he's broken free of Westy as well. Westy's far enough ahead of Chris that the penalty shouldn't affect him, and Chris does have a penalty as well. Victor has 2, so he could drop quite a long way down the order if Lawrence and Niels and TK have kept it clean, especially But Scorpion won't know that. He'll just be interested about trying to get past on track on this final lap, but it's going to be extremely difficult to do so. I think it's going to be the last corner, or if anyone takes a leaf out of Neil's book and tries an extremely brave move around the outside at Blanchimont, as Niels just taps the wall there. Coming out of the no-name corner. Don't want to be doing that on the final lap.
No, absolutely not. Well, I have to say, it is battling all the way to the line, but Victor's managing to hold off Scorpion for a bit longer. Thompson then making his way through the final couple of corners. It has not been an easy race whatsoever, but he's up 5 positions from his starting position at the moment. It looks like he's on course to win a Belgian Grand Prix. Only 2 more corners to negotiate now. The old bus stop chicane as he makes his way, clipping those curbs to perfection. And Thompson here for Toro Rosso is going to win the Belgian Grand Prix. A great drive from Thompson. White Fountain coming around the final corner. He's going to try and grab second place. Will Westy get him? No, he won't. Chris, meanwhile, in 4th place. And it looks like Victor's run out of fuel. And he's trying to block people on the track. Oh, that's unacceptable there. He's run out of fuel. He turned across one of the Ferraris there. That's not good at all. And I'm sure the stewards will have a stern word with him there. Whether he actually did get clipped from behind, I'm not sure. But that looked very, very, what's the word I'm looking for? Dodgy, that one. But anyway, he finishes down in 10th place. Jorrit in 11th. Nick G 12th as they're all crashing across the line in frustration. But we'll run through those orders in just a second because it is Thompson who wins the Belgian Grand Prix.
Yeah, great drive by him. Just managed to... It really was all about that first stint of the race where he managed to get past White Fountain when they were battling with Asahina. Still not sure what happened to Asahina in the pit stop, but we saw him get caught up in an incident later on, and Nick just seemed to keep his cool there. Him and White Fountain avoiding any penalties, and the 4th different winner in 5 races in season 13 in the Precision Tier.
Well, there you have it then. Thompson winning the Belgian Grand Prix, and that's not going to do Toro Rosso's points any harm whatsoever. As we now head towards the unofficial results here at the Belgian Grand Prix, as it looks a little bit gloomy towards the end of that race here in the Ardennes Forest. But Thompson wins the race then. White Fountain in 2nd, Westy in 3rd, Chris in 4th, Scorpion 5th, TK 6th, Lawrence in 7th, Lukey 8th, Niels in 9th, Victor rounds out the points. It's Jorrit in 11th, Nika 12th, Nick G in 13th, Jor 14th, non-finishers Asahina, Azamata, Liam, Metza, Scanny and Pete all not reaching the checkered flag. Now, Luke Etheridge, it comes to the driver of the day. Who's your pick?
I am going to go...
I mean, I know you're going to go. That was perfectly timed, but who are you voting for driver of the day? Ah, we've lost him. Well, I don't know who Luke's going to pick, but I would probably say it's going to be tight. I really want to try and nominate 3 drivers, but that's not going to happen. Yeah, Luke has left the party, unfortunately, so maybe he'll be able to type it in the chat link there. My driver of the day, it's got to be, well, Luke's saying Chris, so that's one option down. I'm actually going to say Thompson. He drove a really good race today. Really good drive from 6th place. And yeah, that's my driver of the day award. Obviously, you'll be able to choose between those 2 come the next couple of days to vote for your driver of the day. It'll be between Chris there and Thompson, who won the race. So make sure you're following One Hub Racing on Twitter at One Hub Racing. Luke's back. You can explain why you wanted to choose Chris.
Gained 10 positions, as did Westy, but I feel like there's been quite a lot of pressure on Chris as of late. So I think he's done well to try and overcome that, especially after last week qualifying on pole and retiring. A good comeback from Chris.
Well, there you have it then. It's plug time at the moment. As always, follow the league on YouTube. Follow it on YouTube. Look how old I am. Subscribe to the YouTube channel down below. Click that notification bell so you're notified every time we go live. As I said, follow us on Twitter at One Hub Racing. Also follow Next Level Racing, the sponsor of One Hub Racing. It's Next LVL Racing. They're on Twitter as well. You can follow me whilst you're there as well at KSMCGF1, and you can also follow Luke whilst you're there as well.
Yeah, it's at Luke Etheridge 95.
Make sure now you tune into the Pinnacle Tier, who I'm sure are just coming to the end of their qualifying session. That'll do it for the Precision Tier. Until next week, thank you very much for watching. I've been Kieran McGinley.
I've been Luke Etheridge.
Take care of yourselves, and we will see you next time.